What's up, y'all? All right, so here is my reaction to the De'Aaron Fox, Zach Lavine, Chicago Bulls trade. I know it's a little bit late, and I know my phone is kind of clipping me a little bit. I think that's what the kids say nowadays. But yeah, no, I like this trade for the Spurs and the Kings, obviously. Let's just start out with the Spurs, the team that's probably impacted the most by this. I love the fit of Fox and Wemby, personally. Wemby has really come into his own as a shooter this year. We've seen him shoot like 10 threes a game, and I don't think that necessarily changes with Fox. However, I do believe Fox can help him get more open. Like, if anything, I think we could see Wemby's three-point attempt rate go up. Fox is obviously great slasher, great kick-out passer, great lob passer, although we haven't been able to see a ton of that with, Sabonis at center, but really good lob passer, really good placement passer, entry passer, like just great passer, and a great fit next to Wemby. The biggest worry I have with him is his three-point shooting, but with a guy like Wemby, I mean, does it matter? I mean, Wemby's going to set some of the best screens in the NBA. He can pop, and guys are respecting him at the three-point line. I know percentage-wise, Wemby's not having the best year from three, but guys respect him. Guys get up on him, and in turn, that's going to help Fox have some driving lanes. I don't know what this means for their lineups. The idea for a lineup I had was probably Fox, Castle, who I'm sure you guys know my thoughts on. I don't necessarily love, but Fox, Castle, Vassell, Barnes, Wemby. I've seen some rumors floated out there that it could be Paul, Fox, Vassell, Barnes, Wemby, or Sohan instead of Barnes. I assume it'll be Castle and Barnes rather than Paul and Sohan, just because it's two guys who don't really need shots, who can stay kind of out of the way. Barnes, even though he's far from a great three-point shooter, he's adequate. He can stand just in the corners, splash a couple, play some decent D, help rebound a little bit. I may not think he's a great player at this point in his career. And yeah, before everybody gets on my tail about it, obviously they're far better than me. I'm speaking from purely comparison to other NBA players. All of them could dunk on me, whoop my butt in any game of basketball. I'm obviously not in the NBA. I'm paid much less than them. This is from an objective standpoint, in my opinion, only. Okay, now that that's out of the way. But no, I think Barnes is a good fit. He stays kind of out of the way, can splash him open threes. Castle, I think, might be interchanged with Paul, at this point, who knows? I could see McLaughlin starting, Paul starting. I think it'll depend a bit on injuries, but I do think Castle's probably the obvious starter there. Their two position is a little thinner now, but overall, I love the trade. Really, the only things they gave up were Zach Collins, who wasn't really playing for them anyways. Most of those minutes had gone to, or those backup center minutes had gone to Sandro Mamukelashvili and not Zach Collins, and Charles Bassey. And Zach Collins had kind of just been regulated to a third, fourth string center. Hadn't been playing a ton, hadn't been playing great when he did, so no real issue there. Trey Jones, totally fine backup point guard. Decent fit next to Wemby whenever Chris Paul got hurt, but now you have De'Aaron Fox, and I don't think Jordan McLaughlin is that much of a step back. Obviously, worse defender, not as good a passer, but he's maybe a tier below Trey Jones, just like undersized point guard, really good shooter, decent passer, can help get guys into position. So I don't think it's much of a downgrade there. In terms of picks, the most interesting one, and I think the only one they gave up from my understanding, there might have been a second, I do apologize, but the most interesting one they gave up was the Minnesota pick that they got for the Rob Dillingham trade, the 2031 pick. And that could be interesting. I mean, that could be a valuable trade. We don't know what the future looks like for Minnesota. Obviously, they gave up a ton of picks to get Rudy, and could just leave. Randall's, I think, 30 now. I mean, he's certainly not a youngin anymore. Like he's older. He's getting up there. So we don't know what the future might look like for them. They could just continue to be good with Ant, or they could just say F it and just blow it all up. So that's an interesting pick. I think that pick could be pretty valuable, but I believe that's the only pick that they gave up. I think they gave up a 2028 second and a 2025 second, both from Chicago. I believe from the DeRozan sign and trade, but I don't think either of those will be incredibly valuable. I mean, maybe the 2025 second, but even I could be wrong on that. It could be Chicago giving those up. I think those were part of the DeMar DeRozan trade, but I mean, either way, neither are going to be terribly valuable. So, now for the Kings, they got Zach Lavine, great player, controversial player, but a really good player, and Sidney Sissoko, who's a piece that I like, but nobody that's terribly important. Like he's not really swaying any deals. I guarantee you he was just in there for cap. Then they got a 2025 Charlotte pick that's protected. That's lottery protected. And after this year, it turns into 2 seconds. So they won't end up getting that pick. Probably. Like, I'd be shocked if Charlotte made it into the playoffs. So chances are that'll turn into 2 seconds. One in 2026, one in 2027. I got a 2027 Spurs first-round pick. I apologize. I did forget to include that. That 2021 first-round pick from Minnesota. A 2025 Chicago second, 2028 second from Denver with protections on it. 2028 second-round pick, and it's Chicago's pick. So look, that 2027 pick from San Antonio, not going to be very good. I think that's fair to say. Barring some insane injury luck, like a meteor hits Wemby and De'Aaron Fox's house, that pick won't be good. I mean, I think they're probably a lock to be in the playoffs or in some sort of contention, honestly, in 2027. But this is very much a win-now move from the Kings. They got Lavine, who I like, honestly. The big concern I've heard a lot is what about their playmaking, and honestly, I think Malik Monk has really kind of taken a step into his own. He's become a much better playmaker this year, and I think he might even be averaging more assists than Fox this year. I could be wrong, like you might have to fact check me on that, but Fox's playmaking role had really diminished this year with DeRozan on the team, and Monk getting more minutes, so in terms of playmaking, I don't think it's a huge loss. I think Lavine honestly fills in pretty well as a scorer in that system. A lot of good ball movement. Lavine's a really good movement shooter, something that they really haven't had in the DeMar DeRozan, I mean, even in the De'Aaron Fox, Domantas Sabonis era. So yeah, I think that'll add an interesting dynamic. It's a win-now move. This might make them worse in the short term, but overall, they got a reasonable haul for De'Aaron Fox. Like I don't hate it. Could they have gotten more? Sure. But from the reports I've read, really the only other teams that were like really interested were the Timberwolves and the Knicks, and neither of them really had much to offer. I don't even know the packages they could offer, but it evidently wasn't enough. For the Bulls, hate this trade. Hate it. I hate it. I think more trades will be coming, and they'll probably be moving some of the guys they got again. But I guess let me say what they got. They got Kevin Huerter, Zach Collins, Trey Jones, and their own second-round pick back. And I believe they got the rights to their own first-round pick this year back. Not I believe. They did get their own rights to their pick back. It had been lottery protected. After this year, it went to top 8 protected, and the year after that, top 8 protected. I hate this because, let's be real, the Bulls are not good. The Bulls are not good. Like, I think it's more than fair to say they are going to end up being a lottery team this year. With Lavine and Vooch, or just no Lavine and Vooch, no Lavine just Vooch, no Lavine Vooch, just Kobe. I mean, you get my point. So look, I don't understand why they did this. I just don't get it. I don't get it. In the past, there's been reportedly, at least, and obviously take any report with a grain of salt, but reportedly there's been much better trades for multiple firsts, good pieces, good young pieces. I don't recall any off the top of my head, but there definitely were better offers out there in the past. And if this was the best offer, why not do this earlier? I mean, quite honestly, Lavine's been on the trade block for 2-3 years now, really ever since Lonzo got injured and it was found out that he would be out for a substantial amount of time. Lavine's just kind of been on the block. I mean, I don't want to say since he even signed that contract, but kind of. I mean, I think there was a little bit of buyer's regret there where they just kind of were always shopping around Lavine. So look, I don't get it. I think chances are Kevin Huerter, Zach Collins, and Trey Jones probably don't end up on the Bulls. They don't really fit into the timeline. Doesn't really make sense. They already have plenty of guards. Kobe White, Iota Sunmu, Dalen Terry, if you want to count him. I mean, he gets some minutes, but Kobe White, I don't know if I mentioned him, but Josh Giddey. I mean, they have plenty of guards. Centers, I mean, if you want to keep Zach Collins, fine. But, I mean, I think you have plenty of other options, especially younger options. Like you have Matash, you have Jalen Smith, you have Vooch currently. You have Patrick Williams, who I know is a power forward, but just in terms of, bigger players who could shift up to the 5, they have plenty. So I don't get it for the Bulls. I don't get why they didn't do this trade earlier, give their team some direction, because, I mean, like the Colts, they've been kind of just stuck in mediocrity for the past, honestly, really ever since Tibbs left. They just haven't been particularly good. So hopefully this is a sign that they're, kind of moving on, looking to rebuild. I know the Reinsdorfs probably don't want that, but it's what's best for the team. I mean, when even Bulls fans are saying they want to lose, I think that's a sign. I mean, in my eyes, Bulls fans are similar to, like, Eagles fans, for example. Not necessarily in terms of, like, oh, they're violent, throw beer on people, yada, yada, yada. But, like, those teams have such historic backgrounds and, historic precedences for greatness that there's a level of expectation that's kind of always going to be there. And I think that's just gone for the Bulls. I think the Bulls have proven to be pretty incompetently run. I think this trade shows that, but at the very least, this trade hopefully gives them some direction. Maybe we see Huerter, Collins, or Trey, or all three, in some sort of package deal with Vooch. But yeah, I just don't get this for the Bulls. Doesn't make them younger. Doesn't really fit in their timeline. None of those guys really fit into their rotation. They keep them long term. Okay, but at the end of the day, they got their own, the own rights to their first round pick. The website I'm looking at is wrong. I pulled up Chom's tweet. It's the right to their first round pick back. But yeah, I just don't get it. I don't get it. Let me know y'all's thoughts. I'm curious. Maybe I'm a hater, but I quite honestly like this for every team but the Bulls. So, yeah.